So I want to talk about 3 different common mistakes that we see. There are a lot more that we can talk about, but I just want to focus on just these 3. The first one is the virtues of scarcity. The second is scarcity for user acquisition, using scarcity to drive user acquisition. And lastly, what is natural market creation? So when we talk about virtues of scarcity, one of the main drivers that a lot of people do is to have limited NFTs for sale. And these NFT could be PFPs, it could be land, it could be certain kind of digital assets, it could be blueprints to craft certain kind of assets in your game. And that's really normal. It's very common. With scarcity, you want to limit the amount of supply available, and you want to drive prices. And it's not unreasonable to think that way, because you're more likely to sell NFTs to raise funds and bootstrap your economy. However, one of the problems is that it creates a first mover advantage. It means that these first movers start gatekeeping the game, because they are the ones who have access to this asset, be it a land, be it blueprint, be it certain kind of virtual asset that helps you to level up in the game. And the problem with that is that it moves the entire conversation away from playing the game to understanding this as a speculative asset, because there is a speculative value to it. And that defeats the whole entire first principles of the game. Game needs to be fun. Game needs to increase user retention to play the game. If people are coming in because they see that, okay, as a first mover, I can get all the value, I can extract all the future potential value coming in, then you're changing the whole dynamics of the game. You're changing the kind of market that you have, the kind of buyers and sellers, and the kind of behaviors that they will provide and they will show, because they are the wrong economic agents in the first place. So it's not just about creating NFTs and making it limited, but understanding how does that impact users' behavior, how does that impact the different kind of user, how do you attract the different kind of economic agents in your space. And so basically the first thing is that it moves from gameplay to NFT speculation. The second thing is scarcity for user acquisition. In user acquisition, one of the ways is to bootstrap your economy. That's it, right? A lot of things in blockchain and Web3 is that we want to bootstrap economy, we want to create our own economic models. So with NFT tokens, or with releasing tokens earlier, we get to bootstrap our economy, we get to have user acquisition at a lower cost, and it becomes a very, very good marketing tool. And that's fantastic. Well, what happens with that? Again, it goes to the first problem of creating first mover advantage. The second derivative of that problem is that it prices out late joiners. And this is not a very good reason to, this is not a very interesting and attractive way for people to come and join your system later once everything is up and running, because they will definitely lose out. If I don't have all the key assets I need to play the game, I need to constantly buy and constantly pay a certain kind of utility tax on buying and renting these assets to play the game, to even enjoy the game, then it really prices out the late joiners. And then again, moves to speculation being the key aspect of the game. And this implication is that we move the value creation of tokens from being fun and really enjoying the game to speculative and gatekeeping, like rent extraction. Because these holders of NFTs, these holders of assets that's mandatory to play the game, you need a blueprint or you need this land to participate and play the game. Now, these people who own the assets are gatekeepers. And you don't have a very robust and healthy economy that way. And that becomes a big danger. And lastly, it's market creation. So with market creation, here I'm talking a little bit more about secondary market creation. And whether you like it or not, the markets just are being created naturally. That's just how the economic of markets work. And this is laissez-faire, the free hand economics, where when there's a supply and demand, when there's a mismatch in gap in the market will kind of try to resolve the problem themselves. So markets will be created, especially when we have scarce resource, scarce assets, and it happens a lot in the secondary market. And we see a big shift in their understanding. A lot of developers, a lot of protocol creators and game creators, they understand that. And what do? They tech secondary market. So yeah, I want new markets to exist, I'll tech secondary market, and I'll keep getting returns. And you know what? For better or for worse, it has been about a 1.5 years experiment, and you see that all the secondary market taxation is now zero. The royalties is now zero, because that doesn't really help to create a very robust and healthy economy. It might be a short-term gain for the game developer because I get a new way of revenue, but it's a long-term loss because I don't get user retention anymore, because to play the game, to even enjoy the game, I have to spend so much money to even get started. And that becomes a huge disincentive for late joiners to come in. And so, even if this is not the intention of the game developers, just by having a very speculative asset and the asset that is a key ingredient to playing the game, then you're creating a kind of natural secondary market. And this can result in price bubbles. And we see that in a lot of games. Just look around with all the games over here. You've seen that they have all experienced price asset bubble. But you have to realize that it's not just because you're an NFT you get a bubble. PFPs versus land, they're quite different. With land assets, with blueprints, with assets required to play the game and to level up in the game, you see a higher likelihood of asset bubble as opposed to PFP. And that's because you don't need PFP to play the game. PFP is an extension of one's identity, and the intrinsic value of that has a very different first principles economic value as opposed to our land and all the other virtual assets.